20 days. You don't know it yet. Your alarm goes off the same way it always does. You make the same coffee. You sit in the same traffic. Nothing about the morning tells you that in exactly 20 days, your net worth is going to cross 7 figures for the first time. That's the thing nobody talks about. The day before you become a millionaire, you still feel broke. You still stress about the electric bill. You still hesitate before a $200 purchase. You still wonder if you're doing enough, moving fast enough, if it's ever actually going to happen. And then it does, quietly, on a Tuesday, in a brokerage account you checked almost out of habit. Today I want to walk you inside those 20 days. Not the math. You've heard the math. I want to talk about what's actually happening to a person right before they cross that line, because understanding this changes how you pursue wealth entirely. Let's start with the biggest misconception about becoming a millionaire. Most people imagine it as an event, a moment, a notification that changes everything. Like there's a door, and on one side you're regular, and on the other side you're wealthy, and crossing through it transforms your life. It doesn't work like that. 20 days before the milestone, nothing dramatic is happening. There's no drum roll, no signal from the universe. The person who is about to become a millionaire is doing the same things they were doing 6 months ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, just slightly more refined, slightly more consistent, slightly more patient. That's the uncomfortable truth. The wealth was built in the ordinary days, the Tuesday nights when they reviewed their allocations instead of watching another episode, the Sunday mornings when they ran the numbers instead of sleeping in, the moments when they didn't upgrade their lifestyle after a raise. 20 days out, they're not sprinting to the finish line. They don't even know the finish line is 20 days away. They're just still doing the work, and that's exactly what makes them dangerous. Let's talk numbers, because context matters here. 20 days before hitting $1 million, the portfolio is sitting somewhere around $980,000 to $995,000, and something psychologically interesting starts happening at that level that doesn't happen at $500,000 or even $800,000. The compounding starts to become visible in real time. At $990,000, a single average market day, a normal, boring, nothing special market day, can move your portfolio by $3,000, $5,000, $8,000 in one direction or the other. That's money that used to take weeks of work to save, and now it just happens because of the size of the base. This is what they mean when they say the first million is the hardest. It's not motivational fluff. It's mathematics. At $100,000, a 10% return gives you $10,000. At $500,000, that same 10% gives you $50,000. At $1 million, it gives you $100,000. Same percentage, radically different outcome. The asset base is doing the heavy lifting now. 20 days out, the person's starting to feel this for the first time. They check their account and the number moved without them doing anything. No extra shift, no side hustle deposit, no bonus. Just the compounding engine running in the background while they live their life. That feeling is new, and it's the first real preview of what financial freedom actually feels like. This is the part that surprises people the most. You'd expect someone 20 days from $1 million to feel euphoric, excited, confident. Some do, but a lot of them feel something closer to quiet anxiety. Here's why. They've been playing a long game. For years, sometimes a decade or more, they have been deferring, sacrificing, staying disciplined while people around them upgraded, splurged, and lived in the moment. They've held the line through market crashes that cut their portfolio by 30%. They've held the line when friends bought new cars and they drove the old one another 2 years. They've held the line when the strategy felt invisible and the results felt impossibly far away, and now they're close, really close. And suddenly, the proximity to the goal creates a new fear they didn't have before. What if I lose it now? A 10% market correction at $990,000 sends them back to $891,000. After all that work, That's a real thought, a real fear, and it's actually a sign of sophistication because they now understand at a visceral level that wealth is not a destination you arrive at and stay. It's a position you manage. The other emotion present in those 20 days, a very specific kind of clarity. The noise is gone. They stopped caring about what their coworkers thought of their car years ago. They stopped trying to keep up with anyone. They have a number, a plan, and a timeline. And everything that doesn't feed that system just stopped being interesting. That clarity, that quiet, is one of the most underrated benefits of the wealth building process. And it shows up before the million. It's part of what makes the million happen. 20 days out, here's what the day actually looks like. They wake up and their investments already ran overnight. Automated. They set this up years ago. A fixed percentage of every paycheck redirected before it ever hits checking. They never see it, never decide whether to move it, never talk themselves out of it. It just goes. They're not tracking every dollar anymore. That was the early years, the spreadsheet phase, the obsessive budgeting phase. Now it's simpler. A few high-level numbers they review weekly. Are income streams healthy? Is the savings rate holding? Is the allocation still aligned with the plan? That's it. The system runs. Their income is likely coming from more than one place. Not because they're grinding 5 side hustles, because over years of building, opportunities compounded the same way money compounds. A skill became a freelance income. A freelance income became a small business. A primary job income grew because they kept reinvesting in themselves. They're spending below their means. Not dramatically. They're not living on rice and beans at $990,000, but they never inflated their lifestyle in proportion to their income growth. Every raise, a portion went to savings first. Then life adjusted to what remained, not the other way around. And they have almost no high-interest debt. They dealt with that years ago. The only debt they might carry is a mortgage, low rate, long term, with equity growing on the other side of it. None of this is extraordinary. That's the point. These are boring, repeatable behaviors, done consistently for years. Consistency compounded. That's the whole formula. 20 days from the milestone, there are a few things this person understands about money that most people never figure out. First, they know that income is not wealth. They watched high earners burn through 6-figure salaries and end up with nothing to show for it. They understood early that the number on your paycheck is almost irrelevant compared to the gap between what you earn and what you keep. The savings rate is the engine. Everything else is noise. Second, they understand that the market will always feel dangerous. There was never a moment in the last 10 years where every analyst agreed it was a safe time to invest. There was always a reason to wait, a coming recession, a political crisis, inflation, interest rates, something. They stopped waiting. They invested consistently through all of it, and the people who waited for the right time are still waiting. Third, they stopped comparing their Chapter 1 to someone else's Chapter 10. The person on social media showing you their portfolio at 27, you don't know their starting capital. You don't know their parents. You don't know their expenses. Comparison is corrosive to a long-term wealth strategy. They learned this early, and it saved them years of distraction. And fourth, they know the million is not the end. It is a checkpoint, a validation of the system. Evidence that what they've been doing works. The number itself doesn't change their life dramatically. The system that built it, that's what changes everything. Because that system keeps running after the milestone. It doesn't stop at 1 million. It goes to 2, to 5, to financial independence. The number is just a scoreboard. The game is the wealth-building identity they built along the way. And then the day comes. They open their app, maybe in the morning, maybe during lunch, and the number is there, 7 figures. For the first time, there's no confetti, no phone call from a bank, no certificate. Most people who've crossed this line describe the moment as surprisingly underwhelming, followed a few hours later by something deeper, not excitement, more like confirmation. Like, yeah, the plan worked. Of course it worked. It was always going to work. That's the psychological shift that the number actually delivers. Not euphoria, not relief, just a very settled, very quiet confidence that the framework they built is real, is durable, and will keep working as long as they keep working it. And then they close the app and they go about their day, and tomorrow the system runs again. Here's what I want you to take from this. The 20 days before the million look almost identical to the 20 days before $100,000 and the 20 days before $500,000 because the behavior is the same. The system is the same. The discipline is the same. You don't transform into a different person right before the milestone. You were already that person. The milestone just confirmed it. So if you're early in the process, if the number feels impossibly far away, understand that the gap between where you are and where you want to be is not a distance problem. It's a time problem. And time, with the right system, is always on your side. Build the system. Run it consistently. Don't stop when it feels invisible. The Tuesday will come. If this hit different, share it with someone who needs to hear it right now. Drop a comment. I want to know where you are in the process. See you in the next one.